Hi, Pisces. This reading takes a look at the lessons that you experienced in 2022. It is my intention that that will help you moving into the year of 2023. So I've shuffled your deck, I've pulled your cards, and your overall theme was strength. The reason why was the star. So it feels like this was a huge year for you in the sense of having to really dig down deep to find that gumption to keep moving when perhaps you felt as though you didn't want to anymore, right? There's an energy of healing coming in, but it's only after acknowledging the things that are broken or, that need fixing. And so I feel like that's a very difficult thing to have to do. You have the devil in the reverse. So this year might have been a year of sobriety for some of you, or trying to abstain or rehabilitate some kind of addiction that you've been dealing with. This can also talk about you removing yourself from situations that did not have your highest good. And it feels like that took a lot of willpower, right? Because that strength energy really does talk about knowing what you want, but also putting in the work consistently to get it, even when your heart is telling you something different or when everything is falling apart, right? And so, kind of a difficult year. Death in reverse, the star, and the 10 of swords in reverse. So lots of needing to heal before you can move forward is what this looks like to me. It's almost like kind of this period of cleaning house before you can start something new. There's that energy of having to assess, where are you, right? How much of your own life are you in control of, and how much are you giving to something outside of yourself, whether that's a relationship, an addiction, or a belief, right? As I'm looking into how this theme affected your love life, you got the Queen of Wands. So I feel like, you very well may have found yourself within your relationship. Now, not all of you are with the person that you were with in 2022 still, but whatever happened within your love life, it gave you a huge sense of direction, right? And so perhaps you had that partner that treated you so badly that you're like, you know what? I have to get away from where I was when I manifested this person in my life. I have to do different. I have to do better, right? Perhaps you had a partner that cheered you on as you were trying to heal from something in your past, right? I feel like within your love life, there was a lot that you had to release to be able to receive anything new in the year of 2022. It looks like you were able to do that, right? And you were almost repaid in some areas by kindness from people in unexpected places. So perhaps whatever this trauma was that you encountered from someone else throughout your love life in 2022, somebody saw your worth and they valued you more, and that was to show you that you made the right decision of leaving whatever this other thing was. It almost looks like perhaps you could have gotten a divorce a few years ago and still been healing or trying to figure things out with that person, so they're in your life in some capacity. And it feels like in the year of 2022, somebody took an interest in you, right? And that was to show you that there's more out there than perhaps what you've seen for yourself in the past. It almost looks like that could be part of how you got into this energy of being so resilient, right? Maybe you experienced some really difficult relationships, and then you used that as like steam for your engine or power, right? To move forward. And as you move forward, it almost looks like perhaps either you found an ally who supported you in this, or you became your own ally, right? For those of you who stayed single. But I feel like as far as your love life, you got confirmation that you made the right decision in the past. So if you had been wavering or on the fence, it's like you got to see that perhaps whatever you were remembering didn't quite look as it was, right? Oftentimes we have that like, what if I would have done something different? Should I have left? Why don't they change? All those feelings that come with endings. And it feels like in the year of 2022, Perhaps you were dating somebody new that was able to give you another perspective, because it seems like you spent a lot of time in an energy of disappointment before that happened, right? Regret, like I lost my soulmate or I lost the person that I was supposed to be with. And it seems like in the year of 2022, you were able to see that that was not really the case, right? There's more out there. You just have to be willing to expand your vision. Now, as I'm looking at your energy for money, you got the Hermit in the reverse. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so I feel like money probably is not a huge focus this year. It feels like as far as like your finances and your budget, you were kind of spinning your wheels because there were some things that you were facing that perhaps you just really couldn't do anything about at the time. This actually happened because I feel like you need to acknowledge that there are things that you just can't fix. So, for example, if you have a roommate who always leaves the lights on, right? And you're constantly telling that person, like, the bill is high, I keep having to pay the bill, you never have money. What can you do about that? You can't change your roommate's behavior, but you can change who you live with, right? So it's kind of that energy of coming up against situations that perhaps you've encountered in the past with your money and having to figure out what part of this can you control and what part of this is outside of your control, and then taking action on what you can do, right? Like I said, you can't change the roommate, can't make them turn off lights. You can change who is your roommate. And so it feels like that was kind of your money, right? Maybe you were coming up against obstacles and you were having to assess situations this year where it was like, okay, I can't make myself get that promotion because it's not available to me at this time, but I can probably order DoorDash less, right? So having to reframe how you move in regards to your finances, right? If you did that this year, good job. Because oftentimes we're kind of tested as to how we treat our money, and that will dictate how much money we get in the future because we're treating our money with respect, right? Or we're not just being frivolous so we can be trusted with more. That's kind of how money seems to work, right? Now, Two of Swords coming out in the reverse for your relationship with yourself. So I feel like this is very good because you had an honest conversation with yourself about what you've learned from all of your experiences in your life, but also where you need to grow or allow yourself to grow, right? What areas of your life perhaps are stagnant and need to be pruned away, what parts of you need healing, right? Perhaps in the past you were not in a space to be able to do that. Whereas this year, I feel like you had the sight or the clarity of mind to be able to really get to the bottom of some of your beliefs, why you're moving the way you're moving, and what needs to change to get you where you want to go. So I feel like this was a really good year. Like I said, it's very possible that that happened because of a previous situation that you were in as far as a love relationship, because this is actually being clarified as the King of Wands in the reverse. You may have decided that a lot of the behaviors that you were exhibiting, you could not even attribute those to who you were. It was quite literally a product of a different life, right? A product of a relationship that you were in, or something that you had been through, right? Like, for example, I was never a drinker until I met my son's dad, and then I drank, right? But I was not a drinker, like, up until that point. And I had other tools for how I'd manage my anger or my frustration. But my drinking was kind of a product of that relationship, right? So as I moved through that and was like, hey, I don't want to do that anymore, I had to come back to center and be like, what did I do before I did that? And I feel like that was you guys, right? You started looking at some of the ways you were managing your stresses, your behaviors, or your emotions. And you were realizing, like, wow, this is a learned behavior from a previous situation, but that wasn't even who I was before that happened to me. What did I do with my upset or my frustration or worry before I was in such a damaging situation? How did I manage before I became aligned with whoever this was, right? And so I like this for you guys because I feel like you were able to identify behaviors that perhaps at the time you thought like, no, this is a part of my personality. This is who I am, when in reality it was kind of more residual of what someone else gave you or left you with, right? So very good for that, because you're able to start separating yourself from kind of what you've collected along the way, and to get that out of, your energy. And that really is kind of that strength and star reverse combo. Now, Queen of Cups coming out for your mental. So this is very good. I feel like you guys were able to get back to your true self before you experienced so much pain and so much upset. And it looks like you guys kind of went off the path for a while there. And you probably started believing some lies about yourself, or believing that, things that you were doing, like, that is who I am. When in reality, oftentimes when we have hard times in our life or trauma, we end up becoming someone that we're not, right? To deal with that. And so what I like is that as you were able to start kind of isolating different behaviors and realizing like, hey, this is not a part of my core personality, or I'm not a selfish person. I've never been a selfish person, for example, right? You were able to start being more loving and patient with yourself, but coming back into alignment with who you are, right? Who you forgot that you were through some of these more difficult situations that you've been in. So I feel like this is really good. Like, moving forward, you'll have some really great blessings coming in, because you're starting to align yourself with who you are, but not who other people say you are, right? Or who you became as a product of situations that you were dealing with, or that you were in, or people that were in your environment, right? Really stripping away a lot of what does not serve you, what doesn't belong to you, that you don't need to take ownership of anymore. So I think that these two for sure are going to be huge tools moving into 2023. I'm excited to do you guys' forecast, because I feel like you're really set up in a way to be successful. And I will probably be releasing that in the next few days. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel and you've tapped the bell notification to be alerted when it comes out. I will speak to all of you again soon, but thank you for allowing me to read for you, and you take very good care of yourselves. Bye.